Hey everybody, last week or something like that, I started my series of how it feels like to be a closeted sexual minority within a sexual minority. And today's episode, I will be talking about the denial you feel, and I feel like a lot of gays, a lot of trans, a lot of people will be able to identify with that kind of denial when you start either figuring out or you already know and you decide, no, it's much easier to live my life as someone who's part of the part of some of the more majority, or just closer to the majority. In my case, I would have preferred to be gay, even though at the time I didn't know I was gay, because even I did not come from a religious family, but I still felt the shame of my sexual fetish, and I felt like I was alone, and I was like, no, 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 I can change this, I can change this. And so when I'd known since I was really, really young, like I would draw myself like a big ball. I wished I was super big when I was a kid, and I'd known for a long while, but as I reached late teenage years, I started realizing the implications of this fetish, and I didn't like those implications at all. Feeling alone, feeling like I didn't have anyone to relate to was overwhelming, and I decided that it was not something that I wanted to be. So when I did eventually start coming to friends, because I felt like I had too many secrets. A, I was asexual. B, I could have a fetish. C, maybe I was part of another or part of a sexual minority that I wasn't aware of yet. I talked about my fetish in past tense. I used to want this. I used to feel sexual. I didn't think it was sexual at the time. I used to have an interest in this. And I talked about it in past tense, as though I had changed, as though I could have changed myself. I was, in a sense, praying the fetish away, even though I wasn't religious. I just believed that if I abstained from fantasizing or abstained from thinking those thoughts for a sufficient amount of time, that it would just go away. But it didn't. And after like 2 years, I eventually gave up and decided to start embracing my sexuality instead. But that's something that I see a lot in our community, and it concerns me because it means that there's so many people that are struggling to accept themselves, and so many people who are struggling to find a balance in life between their sexuality and real life, or between their family and their vanity, and or how they're afraid that other people are going to see them if they find out that they're different. So, but then again, it is a sexuality that does have very, they have ethical components that you need to talk about, and you can't really avoid those discussions. You can't really avoid those discussions, because if you avoid those discussions will eventually come to you either way, and then you're in an even more awkward position than trying to be upfront about it and trying to have these discussions directly. So that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. Be sure to check out my last video and the other videos on my channel if it's your first time here. And be sure to check in tomorrow for my wonderful food challenge. And if you haven't yet, subscribe!